I want to thank everybody for watching Crypto Revolution. We talk about everything crypto daily. Before we jump into this video, I want to ask you, smash that like button for me. Trying to get a like spike going. 1,000 likes a video, that's the goal. Please leave a comment in the comment box. Let me know what number like you were. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I'm going to keep you up to date daily to make sure you're successful in the cryptocurrency space. Jumping right into the market today in crypto. Red day. Overall market cap of cryptocurrency down to $199 billion. Bitcoin at 6,900. So it has fallen below 7,000. So this is the Bitcoin chart we talked about in yesterday's video. Hints of a pullback, and then the bulls need a bounce and a move above 7,400. So Bitcoin now is at critical support. Bitcoin bulls need to push this price higher. Basically, if this pattern breaks the downside, there's a lot of downside ahead for Bitcoin. So again, a bounce here, however, basically work our way up in this rising channel, rising wedge again. Okay, key resistance is 7,400. You want to see the bulls put in a higher high. If this low is established as a higher low than the previous low, obviously that's somewhat bullish sign. I'm going to go over a couple other ideas with you right now. This is kind of a cleaner version, and you can see you had quite a few of these moves to the downside that happened previously. Everybody's freaking out right here. You know, everybody's worried like Bitcoin's about to roll over. Bitcoin's about to roll over. Happened here too. These are all these falling wedges, right? It's over with. This is a double top. Here it is. Then it happened here, and we got that bounce. And now here we are again. Bitcoin bulls need to hold the support level. All right, if it does happen, there's this bullish scenario. However, like, you do not want to be in this holding a bunch of Bitcoin if you get a break to the downside, because you're looking at 6650, 6450, 6250, potentially 5800 after that. Use your stop losses every single trade. Now, this is a Bitcoin daily chart. Critical that the Bitcoin bulls push this price higher before the daily candle close is going to happen in a couple hours. So you notice this current daily candle, we just had a bullish cross of the 21 and the 50. The price pulled back. Bitcoin's price was above both the 21 and the 50, which is definitely a bullish sign for Bitcoin. Put in this lower high again, first sign, bearish sign here. You got your high, and then the bulls weren't able to push this next high up higher than the previous high. Now this is possible bearish MACD cross in here as well, which is a sell signal on the daily chart. Again, there's a lot of downside here if the bulls can't close and it pushes price up above the 21 and the 50 potentially. The RSI is also curling below the 50 on the RSI. So again, critical level for the bulls to hold for Bitcoin. A couple of shout outs for people in my trading group. This person stated, a big thank you. Since joining the group, I managed to trade 5 Bitcoin up to 10.7 Bitcoin. Solid. This person stated, I've been in this space for 6 years. I watched all your videos and I learned something new. I've only been here 2 months and I've made about $200,000 since being here. I highly suggest you watch all the videos. CBC, thanks again. This person stated, I made friggin' 0.5 Bitcoin today, like WTF. I swear this group helped me. I just joined yesterday. I've got a cryptocurrency trading group. I've got 6 chat groups where everybody's calling out breakouts, posting charts, working together to trade this market. I've got 41 videos in a playlist. If you don't know anything about trading at all, nothing, you can watch these videos. You'll be making profitable trades. Number one reason why people join my trading group is I post profitable trading setups every single day, and we've been killing it. It's amazing to see the gains we make in the trading group on a daily basis. If you guys want to join the cryptocurrency trading group, you want to pay in crypto, email me, cryptobitcoinchris@gmail.com. I'll get you set up and in the group today. You pay for 6 months in crypto, you get a 20% discount. You pay for the year in crypto, you get an additional month for free and a 30% discount. If you do want to pay with a card month to month on a monthly basis, you can do so. There's a Patreon link that's in the description. This is Tezos, up 72%. You can see here's the setup posted. Here's 52% out of Link. Again, bought the breakout down here. Here's the setup. Boom, 52% out of Link. Here's Ethereum, 57% gains out of Ethereum. Here's the setup posted in the trading group on the 17th of last month. Boom. Here is Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash, again, posted March 17th. Broke out 60% gains over time. And you can see there's 1,584 people in the trading group. Bitcoin price dives to 6,800, leaving $40 million in longs liquidated. And that's what this is all about. Here, let's squeeze the longs real quick because there's a ton of longs. This is Blockchain Whispers, shows Bitfinex got about 65% long, but everybody's short on Binance, 73% short. Yeah, wasn't a good day for people that were longing with leverage on Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin CME Commitment of Traders report. What does this mean? So the green line up here is retail, and you can see retail buyers have definitely shot up as far as this market goes. Yellow line here is professional traders. Professional traders way down, fallen off substantially. Institutional traders have skyrocketed. So what does this mean? We're trading against the elite. You have to remember, like these guys, go to YouTube. Find how institutional traders, watch a video on how institutional traders trade against retail. Oh, look at retail. They're drawing these cute little patterns. Oh, this is a nice little triangle. How are we going to trick them? How are we going to take their money? How are we going to, are they over leveraged? Is everybody long? How are we going to liquidate? How are we going to potentially bring liquidity back into the market? They trade against us. I talked to a person, and this is pretty eye-opening to me. Talk to a person who's got the panic situation, dealing with it firsthand. And I just wanted to know, hey, what's it like? Is it worse than the flu? Can you describe it to me? And he said the first 5 days felt like I got beat up by about 50 people. Day 6 and 7, I felt good. Days 8 and 9, it got worse. I can't even describe the words. He says after that, I was ready to say goodbye. Like at this point, my stomach was just in a knot. Just when somebody says, hey, I was ready to say goodbye, like you just try to put yourself in their shoes and just imagine what they're going through. This person lost a good friend of his on the same day, you know, so if you could imagine being sick and losing a close friend. Again, my thoughts, prayers go out to anybody that's been affected by this directly or indirectly. He said, hey, this is 100 times worse than the flu. This is a black swan event in itself. Like nobody saw this coming. And these economic times, economic uncertainty, you have to be cautious and be smart when you're trading this market. I want to make sure everybody takes protective measures and is very safe. You know, glad to have this opportunity to share all my thoughts and ideas with you guys on a daily basis. Bitcoin CME futures gap has been filled. We had 2 gaps actually recently filled. This upper one, there was a tiny one, and then this lower one. So we just made a quick run up and then a move lower. And again, you can see this rising channel, rising wedge, same difference. They trade the same. Okay, now there's still an open CME gap up here, 82.65 to 91.25. Having run up, anybody? Anyone? So traditional markets opened up down a little bit. And then as the day wore on, traditional markets were probably pretty spooked by what happened with oil. I don't know if you heard about that, but I'm about to cover it in a second. So, Chris, this is a cryptocurrency channel. Why are you talking about traditional markets? So this is a Dow Jones Industrial Average Index. This is a 1-minute chart. Obviously, the blue line here is Bitcoin. Clearly, you can see following each other perfectly, clearly correlated. You can see that the Dow Jones dropped quickly. Bitcoin followed it. Like the bots are programmed based on traditional markets. Is that's what's happening here? But the cool thing is, this is a tool, right? So all of a sudden we have a new tool to kind of give us some ideas as far as what Bitcoin's price is going to do. Okay? And so we have to just use it for what it is. Now, the thing about trading this market is as soon as you get really fixated on one strategy and it's working really well and everybody starts using it, it changes. You know, so you just kind of have to be able to adjust your strategy with what the market gives us. That's important to understand. But with this idea, my trading group, we made a ton of money shorting Bitcoin off of this idea. This person was up $7,000. Easiest $7,000 I've ever made. I made about $20,000 tonight alone. This person said, prepare for the dump in 7 minutes. Here you go. Boom. Prepare for the dump. Market's open. Fell off a cliff. Tons of gains. 50%, 164%, 66%. So I tweeted this on Twitter. Make sure, follow me on Twitter, cryptobtc_Chris. Oil went to 0. Like it went to 0 today. Okay, so apparently, so this is breaking news from CNBC. So crude oil settled at it was down 305% here. So these are the May contracts for WTI crude oil. So potentially the idea is they really focused on June contracts, and that's why there was all this volatility in May contracts as far as the futures go. But I read this, and it says the CME Group is reprogramming its software. CME Group, they handle Bitcoin futures too. They're reprogramming its software in order to process negative prices for energy-related financial instruments. As inventories of oil rapidly accumulate, producers could be forced to pay consumers to take it off their hands, effectively pushing prices below zero. You know, you were used to paying at the pump, and now they're going to pay us to go to the pump. Is that where we're headed? So just from watching a couple news-based YouTube channels today, they're just not shutting off the oil supply. They're not shutting it down, and they just don't have any place to store it. Obviously, people are locked down pretty much everywhere, and so they're not using it nearly as much as they were in the past. And so now there's this plentiful reserve of oil surplus. I mean, we're about to see some amazing economic times, not necessarily good, but amazing, because they haven't happened, at least in my lifetime. The important thing to remember is traditional markets are about to have the best month that they've had since like 1988, in over 2 decades. Like, there's been an amazing bounce in traditional markets. Potentially, is there a retrace? You know, Dow theory says for every move higher or every move lower, you get a 50% move in the opposite direction. Let's see what happens. And then Bitcoin, how is it correlated as far as that goes? This is CFDs, contracts for difference, on WTI crude oil, again, futures. And you can see it fell. Everybody was like, man, it's down 40%. Then it's down 70%. And then it went to, here it's at 6 cents. It was at $30. Someone was like, man, this is some new shiz coin. They need to add oil to Binance so we can trade it. Everybody was hitting me up today in group. Like, they're like, Chris, how do I get oil? I want to get oil. I want to get oil. But again, this was essentially May's futures contracts, and people are basically looking at June futures contracts. And so that's why you had all this volatility and this sell-off. Also, traditional markets, you're looking at earnings are going to be announced this week. So to some extent, these should be priced in. Like everybody knows, the markets are real good at pricing in information before it even is released and announced. So as long as these earnings are bad but not terrible, then you know the market shouldn't be hit too hard. Hopefully, just kind of depends. Like these Coca-Cola, major American banks, Netflix, Delta, IBM, Intel are some of the big companies scheduled to report earnings this week. I bet Netflix is mooning right now. Not much else to do, is there? Want to see what these banks open up with. But again, I just want you guys to keep an idea. Like, never did I think I'd be talking about all this traditional market news on here, but I think it's very relevant, at least for the time being. At least for the time being. Facebook plans to hire 50 people in Ireland for its Libra project. So what they're going to do is they've got a lot of changes that they have announced and proposed as far as their stablecoin project goes. They're going to have a stablecoin, a multi-currency stablecoin that was pegged to a lot of different fiat currencies. And now they're actually talking about single currency stablecoins as well. So Libra is going to transition its network from permissionless to a market-driven, open, and competitive network. Big changes as Libra moves forward. Some of the other news that we've talked about this week. So the G20 sets rules for regulating global stablecoins, not banning them. Like everybody's fearful that they were going to get banned. They're just going to be regulated. Bitcoin marketplace Purse.io is closing down. South Africa seeks strict crypto regulations. Binance unveils smart contract blockchain to compete with the likes of Link and Ethereum. And then yesterday we talked about DeFi protocol DeForce lost $25 million in a hack or exploit. A bunch of Bitcoin and Ethereum stolen. $25 million worth. Congress and the IRS have announced panic situation relief. They're allowing for loss carrybacks and tax refund claims. So you're going to have a potential IRS crypto tax relief that you're looking forward to in the future, depending on if you took losses over the past few years. If you've had losses, you might have trouble claiming them, offsetting gains or reducing your income. Our tax system currently requires you to treat each tax year separately. The rules for claiming net operating losses, or NOLs, essentially operate as an exception. So you can apply a loss in 1 year to reduce your tax in another year with this idea. So part of the panic situation response is the new CARES Act. It's going to help in a huge way for tax years starting after December 31st, 2017, but before January 1st, 2021. That's 3 calendar years of losses. If you've incurred any losses in investments in 2018, 2019, 2020, the new law allows you to carry back 100% of these net operating losses to the prior 5 tax years. It's a sweet deal if you're in a bad situation and you've incurred some losses in the cryptocurrency space. This is epic. This is huge. Potentially what you'd be able to do with this is you can actually deduct the amount equal to your taxable income. So if you make 100 grand a year and you have a net operating losses of that amount, you could potentially write off all of your income because of this new CARES Act. This is going to be huge. This is a bunch of money in people's pockets, especially a bunch of money in our space, because let's face it, a lot of people have come into this space and take considerable losses over time. The United States IRS has announced the implementation of the rules for these important changes already. And it gives different codes and how to go about it. You just Google this and you'll be able to pull up the article. It talks about different forms you need to use, but the IRS is going to give you more time to file. They're going to allow an extra 6 months for this. So again, huge news for us in the cryptocurrency space if you've taken some losses over the last 3 years. Russians withdrew a year's worth of cash in a month over panic situation fears. People were afraid banks would be unavailable during the quarantine. They withdrew money for the same reason as people hoarding food. Hey, to me, makes perfect sense. I made some moves that potentially positioned me in a situation where if something happens to these banks, I would be taken care of. So you definitely want to have some cash stores on hand. Coinbase recently hired Barclays executive to lead institutional business. This is pretty big. They're going to take another swing at Wall Street. Coinbase hitting Wall Street again. So they could serve products and services far beyond the trading of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They're looking to push deep into Wall Street and see where they can collab and make deals with these traditional corporations, Wall Street in general. So again, this is a great strategy. You know, if you can't potentially bridge a gap, hire somebody who can. If you guys like the content that I provide on a daily basis, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below, hit the bell for notifications. Thanks so much. I will see you guys tomorrow.